As we celebrate Black History Month, it's important to keep in mind that many of the occurrences we often discuss happened in this same lifetime. And we have a very special guest joining us this morning to help put that into perspective for us. He flew combat missions in World War II and also in the Korean War. Tuskegee Airman Lieutenant Colonel George Hardy, thank you so much for joining us this morning, sir.
Okay, but I also flew combat missions in Vietnam.
Thank you for including that. I appreciate that. Now, for anyone who may be unfamiliar, the Tuskegee Airmen were the first Black pilots to fly in the U.S. military. That was back in the 1940s, still 20 years before the Civil Rights Act. Lieutenant Colonel, that means you have seen a lot of change when it comes to racial equality. What stands out to you most in that, and where do you feel we still have room for growth?
Well, what stands out to me most is when I went into service in 42, the Navy had no Afro-American officers, and you could only enlist as a mess attendant dealing with the serving and preparation of food. The Army did have a infantry and cavalry units, but the senior officers in those units tended to be white. And we did have one general officer, but that was unusual. But today, we have, as part of the military, the Secretary of Defense is Lloyd Ashton, an Afro-American. The Chief of Staff of the Air Force, General Charles Brown, Afro-American. So things are changing in a way because all up and down the Army and Navy, you find Afro-American officers in position of responsibility as colonels and generals and whatnot. So it's a significant change from the situation in 1940, 41, 42.
Excellent. Now, at 96 years old, is that right?
96 last June, yes.
96, you are the youngest Tuskegee Airman still living, which puts a solid 90 years between you and your average first grader. We only have a short time left with you, sir, but what, if anything, do you think is wise to teach our youth in schools about Black history?
Well, the thing is, we've got to just tell it as it is about Black history, what happened, what we did. For years, they wouldn't let Afro-Americans fly because they said we weren't qualified. But then they opened Tuskegee and we proved that we could fly as well as anybody else. And that's the situation. Just give us the chance and we'll do it. And that's all we asked for. And Tuskegee Airmen proved that. In fact, some of the white pilots flying bombers over there preferred to have us escort them because we would stick with them. We wouldn't go off chasing German airplanes. We'd stick with and protect the bombers to the target and bring them back.
Excellent. Now, sir, we appreciate you for joining us this morning. For those of you out there who would like to hear more from Lieutenant Colonel Hardy, he will be in Tallahassee coming up. Sir, when are you going to be in Tallahassee? Tell us briefly.
I'm going to be at the, I'm going to be at FMU, the university there on tomorrow, I believe, yes.
Yes.
And there's a reception there tonight. I don't know the full schedule.
Wonderful. And we will get that schedule for you on our website. Again, thank you, Colonel Hardy, for joining us this morning. We appreciate your presence and your service.
Thank you.
Still ahead.